Hello, and here we go. Thank you for watching. I'm Neris, and this is a walkthrough for Mythic Plexus Sentinel in Manaforge Omega. Alright, this is a pretty cool first boss, and the encounter is extremely scripted. The main jump in difficulty is that, at different times, two mechanics will be happening at the same time. For our strategy, we always take the matrices or the traps to the left. Next, the Tank Buster, Obliteration Arcanal Cannon, causes less damage the farther the tanks are from the raid. While the tank is running out, you must extra action button over the approaching wall, which now appears once during phase 1 in addition to during the intermission. The first segment of the room is very crowded, so depending on your tanks, take advantage of Divine Shield, Transcendence, or even Spatial Rift to get behind the arena and increase your distance. Next, you will simultaneously get the second wave of traps and Eradicating Salvo, the group soak. Assign half the raid to soak each hit, and this is a good spot for Anti-Magic Shell or Spirit Link. Finally, the second Tank Buster will go off and we enter the intermission. Alright, as the intermission is starting, we have our Death Knight use Death's Advance to ignore the pushback and grip the two adds together. The adds will always spawn front left and deep right on this first intermission. They don't have a ton of HP, so our melee kill them pretty quick, and casters just throw some dots on them and head to the boss. Notice our traps are placed flush to the wall. This allows us to quickly pass through on the left after killing the adds. Be sure to extra action button through the wall and continue damaging the boss. Breaking the damage shield is not too difficult so long as your whole raid is alive. You should plan a healing cooldown and potentially use defensives towards the end of the intermission, as the last few ticks will start dealing significant damage. The first phase 1 has much faster pacing than the subsequent phases, so from this point onwards the fight is pretty easy, so long as you don't have any silly deaths of course. While the fight is playing out, I want to deep dive on some of the mechanics. The trap additionally applies a dot to players which deals 9.6 million damage before mitigation. Basically, if you're not already near full health, you will need a defensive or hellstone to survive. Additionally, walking into one of the traps will stun and randomly teleport you nearby. Thus, it is important to not run into an existing trap while attempting to place one. You risk being teleported onto the group, dying, and chaos will ensue. Unless you want a funny wipe clip. Hold on, let me write that down. Next, there is no penalty from taking both hits of the group soak if you can do so. As you can see, I am using Glide to hop back into the second hit. Many classes can accomplish this, including but not limited to Death Knights with Death's Advance, Mages with Alter Time, and Warlocks with their Personal Gate. Of course, you are taking a big hit twice, so be aware of how much health you have. Other than being annoying, the wall that you extra action button to pass through additionally clears all traps and tank puddles from the room. This is how we are always able to take our traps to the left. Alright, positioning after the wall is somewhat important because if a trap or tank puddle are in the way, you must deal with it for the first part of the intermission. Continue to bring the traps to the left, and the third and final obliteration before the intermission must be taken deep left, as you can see here. Our strategy involves running up the right side of the room, and if it's all covered in arcane goo, it's almost certainly a wipe. The group soak here happens just before the intermission, so this is another good moment for AMS or Spirit Link to keep everyone healthy. At the start of the second intermission, I wing buffet the ad forward to help our Death Knight. He then grips it forward and then to the second ad so we can clean them down. The expulsion zones also knock back ads, and it can be weird if you try and grip an ad through one. Same deal, melee kill the ads and casters apply their dots. The shield on the second intermission should be zero problem as it lines up perfectly with 2-minute cooldowns. We honestly had a pretty sloppy pull and cleared the shield no problem despite being down 3 DPS. This also worked out for the sake of the video, as we're on the verge of skipping the last intermission anyway and just killing Plexus before it happens. While I'm breaking the fourth wall anyway, please consider hitting the like button. As basically a nobody channel, even a handful of likes has a huge impact. And if you've enjoyed listening to me yap, please subscribe so we can chat again soon. At time of posting, our guild is progging on Forgeweaver, and I want to release content with our tips, tricks, and hurdles we overcame, so you don't have to wipe as many times as we did. Alright, back to phase 1. The ability order is identical to the phase 1 after the first intermission, so at this point you've basically finished the fight. Continue to take traps to the left, and the tanks can run all the way down range so you take the least amount of damage possible from the obliteration. Do remember though, the third and final obliteration must be on the left side of the room as well. We've seen this all before, so let's skip ahead to the third intermission. As I mentioned, it is absolutely possible with high damage to entirely skip the final intermission. If you do have to deal with the phase, there are a few quirks to be aware of. First, the expulsion zones, the impassable orbs, always spawn in the same locations. While this is mostly irrelevant for the previous intermissions, this time they form an S-hook shaped path. Casters want to try and make it to the base of the S-hook to extra action button over the expulsion zone and the wall at the same time. Without a blink type ability for myself and our melee, we have to run the gauntlet. You can save some time by using a sharp angle to cross the wall and sort of turn the corner at the same time. And, since the wall has already passed, the traps will be clear from your path. The final intermission starts just before the 6-minute mark, so you should have your major cooldowns when you finally make it to the boss. After the shield, it's business as usual while you take down the last few percent of Plexus Sentinel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video provides some insight into the first boss of Mana Forge Omega. Good luck, GG's, and we'll chat again soon.